Okay, good evening. I've been assured it's 6 o'clock, although the bells are out of action in the tower. I'll just go through the preliminaries first. Members of the public are entitled to take photographs, film, audio record and report on all public meetings in accordance with the Openness of Local Government Bodies Regulations 2014. People may not, however, act in any way considered to be disruptive and may be asked to leave. Emergency evacuation procedure from the council chambers: turn left, follow the green emergency exit signs to the main town hall entrance, proceed to the assembly point at St George's Square. Also, to remind all present, the meeting this evening will be live streamed to the public. A recording of the public part of the meeting will be available on the council's website within 24 hours of the meeting. Would remote participants please use their hands icon in the Teams to indicate they may have a question? Please turn your camera and microphone on when addressing the committee and off when you're not speaking. I'll put the face masks, and would members and officers remember to switch their microphone on when speaking, off when they've finished speaking. Please switch off mobile phones. That'll do for now. So I'll go straight on to apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair. Apologies for absence from councillors Agley and Masood.
And Amjad Ali, please, Chair.
Okay. Ali, add that. The minutes of the previous meeting on the 29th of June. You okay with those? And I'll sign them. Section 106, Local Government Finance Act, declarations.
On that, moreover, Chair.
Any disclosures of interest tonight? Either say it now or when the item is called. Any urgent business?
None, Chair. Okay,
so we'll go straight onto the agenda proper. Councillor Franks has asked that we do the Linton Hotel first and then London Luton Airport Way, which I think is a reasonable request. So, because you can't get involved in the others. Okay, so we'll start with.
Thank you, Chair.
Page 124, the Linton Hotel, 107 London Road.
That's when my councillor Gilbert. I didn't include him in the email.
Oh, yeah, I will. Yeah.
So yeah, just be fancy Gilbert.
Yeah.
Are we good to begin, Chair?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much, Chair. So as members will recall, the application was first presented to Development Management Committee in February of this year, where the item was deferred to review various matters around the application. It was then brought back in March, where a resolution to grant had been achieved. As it's set out in the report, there was an error that has come to light during the negotiation of the Section 106, and the application is brought back before members to rectify the error that has been identified. That essentially amounts to all contributions being deferred to a viability review in line with the latest viability report. Thank you very much, Chair.
Any questions or comments? Do we agree? Recommendation that we agree.
Do a first and second, isn't it? Yeah.
Is that? I'll formally move the recommendation. Is that seconded? Seconded. Yeah. No one against, is there? So that's.
We need to do the roll call for people online, so we need to do it as normal.
Well, I think there's nobody against, so I was going to do a roll call. It's just approved. So yeah. Okay. Then we'll go on to London Luton Airport Way, page 190. Yeah. Kashid, yeah. A personal declaration of interest. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. So yes, that would definitely be a personal interest. I must ask, however, a few questions to just determine in my own mind whether it's up to you, of course, but whether I would regard it and advise you that it'd be prejudicial. And that basically is determined on, have you really had anything to do with the airport planning application. So the way to answer it is, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do at the airport? Right, so it's taxi ranking, it's taxi business. It's not actually to do with the airport, the running of the airport, or the planning application. Yeah, that's fine.
It's self-employed.
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah.
It's for information only.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. As you said, it's for information purposes only. The application obviously was called in by the Secretaries of State. It will now be considered by the Secretary of State for the Department for Transport and the Secretary of State for Levelling Up and Housing and Communities. The report gives you dates when the inquiry is likely to be sitting. Just to update members who are listening and are present, the venue will now be in the council, in the town hall. It will move from the council chamber after the first day to committee rooms. So the venue has been decided. If you can turn to the next page, please. Thank you. This is really just to allow members to see where all information is being retained in relation to the actual public inquiry itself. And just before we had what was called the PIM, the pre-inquiry meeting, the airport submitted an addendum to their environmental statement. So you can see 3 yellow boxes on there. That is the latest information which we and third parties are assessing, and our proofs of evidence will be based on that. So really it is just to update members as to the state of play, and that come the 27th of September, public inquiry will be held on this application by the Secretaries of State, who've appointed 3 inspectors. Thank you.
Any questions, comments? So we just note. Okay, no decision needs to be made. Right. So now we'll go on to the agenda itself at the top. Land rear of Wardown Crescent. That's been deferred. Okay, to the next meeting for additional information. That also applies to Cumberland Street as well, which has been deferred because we still don't have the information that we require. So we'll go straight on to agenda item 8, 42 Granville Road, page 53.
Because he wasn't here.
Yeah. Can I just say that members who were not present last time when this item was determined, it wasn't determined, it was deferred. It was myself, Raja Ahmed, Bridgen, Kashif Chowdhury, Mahmood Hussain and Councillor Kershid. So Franks, Ali and Campbell can't participate in this one or the next one because you weren't present last time when it was debated. Okay? Can't hear me? There are 2 items, this one, Granville Road and Fountains Road, that were debated last time, and both were deferred for visits. Now they're back on the agenda, and because you weren't present and Councillor Bridgen wasn't present last time, then you can't participate in those 2 agenda items. Of course you can. Yeah. Okay. I can't put the chair any further in, and I'll get a bad back if I lean over. Yeah, you want to clarify something?
Yeah, just for anyone that heard, Councillor Bridgen was here, so he can participate as Councillor Franks, but can't, hence he's already gone. Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
Yeah, it's my mistake. I've got you down as being. We did visit Granville Road and 5 members were present. I was there. Can you raise your hand if you were present at the visits? Okay. Ask for the comments. Are there any comments?
Chair, the only comment is that I think we had a debate on that. I think the questions were asked the comments were until we visit. And since I've visited the site, I had been there before previously privately, but there was no officers present because at that time I was told members have to do the visit by themselves. So I did. And after a considerable effort, I managed to park somewhere and saw it from a distance. But I had a look at it at a close distance, and it is a very odd building in the whole street, to be honest with you. It's all stood on its own, and there's a number of development has happened to the left of the property and extension. And we did look at it in terms of the visual intrusion and the sunlight. And after seeing all that, I was of the opinion that it does not have a huge impact on the properties on either side. So I, for one, would be not supporting the officer's recommendation.
Any other comments? No further comments. Then we'll go to the recommendation, which is to refuse. And I'll move refusal. Is that seconded? No?
Seconded.
Oh, seconded. Okay. So we'll go to the vote then. Those in favour of refusal. Do you want to do the vote now?
Okay, so those in favour of refusal
It would be yes.
Yep, yes. Councillor Ahmed.
No.
Thank you. Councillor, Bridgen.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell's obviously abstained. Councillor Chowdhury.
Against.
Thank you. Councillor M. Hussain. Councillor Kershid.
Against.
Thank you.
Me. Oh. Can I have a vote? Yeah.
And Councillor Taylor.
And yeah.
That's lost. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. So the vote to refuse has been lost 4-2. That doesn't mean that automatically it's been approved. Someone now needs to make a further recommendation, and that's up to members to make, which would then need to be seconded. May I add that if that recommendation is to approve, then reasons would need to be given, but also any conditions that would need to be required to be attached to the planning consent would also need to be included as well. And I don't know if the case officer or head of planning may have something to say about conditions if we get to that point. Thank you, Chairman.
So someone move a recommendation to approve.
Yeah, I move that.
Is that seconded?
In terms of that, and I've given my reasons already for approval, because visiting the site and seeing it properly, I think that the two major reasons the officer's refusal, in my opinion, does not have a major impact on either side. There is, in my opinion, there is a sufficient distance between the properties, and therefore visual intrusion or the sunlight, I am saying that does not have that.
Is that seconded?
Second.
Oh, Roger was first. Sonny, do you want to say anything about conditions?
Yeah. Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members. We have a set of conditions that we have prepared in anticipation that members might want to approve this, and I think Johnny might be able to display on the screen the PDF of the conditions. I think once Johnny's got the PDF up on the screen, we can just summarise what the conditions are. It's hard to see, Johnny. You might need to summarise.
Just so to quickly go through the conditions. So condition 1 is the period of the permission. Condition 2 is reads the development hereby permitted shall not be carried out other than in complete accordance with the approved plans. Condition 3 is for the external materials to match the external materials of the existing building. Condition 4 is to restrict windows in the northern elevation, flank elevation. And condition 5 is to restrict the use of the dwelling to C3, which is a single family dwelling. Thank you.
So can I just ask, condition 1, just for everyone's benefit, what is the time limit?
The time limit is 3 years.
Yeah.
Are you happy, members, with those conditions? Okay.
So now need to vote on that.
Yeah, so now need to vote on the application to approve. Okay, please, Matt.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Ahmed? For. Thank you. Councillor Bridgen?
Abstain.
Thank you. Councillor Chowdhury? Councillor M. Hussain? Councillor Kershid?
For.
And Councillor Taylor?
Abstain.
Thank you. That's 4 in favour, Chair.
Well, I'm going outside. I think they're gone now. Okay. This is one we also visited and spent some time at the applicant's house and also at the objector next door. Any updates? Any updates? Any comments, questions? No?
Yeah, we received an update report from the objector when the report was published, and the representation has been circulated by the objector to the member herself. And the key point, as the development will lead lots of light into their kitchen, and then they recommend there should be a 50-centimeter gap between the boundaries, and to allow any future extension they may have. And then they also consider there are 2 alternative options for the applicant to carry out, which in the first one would be a loft conversion, and then the second one could be converting the existing utility room, which was previously a garage, into a bedroom, because they already has a full-sized bathroom on the ground floor already. And secondly, in the last committee, it was mentioned there was a confusion between whether the bedroom is for a child with special needs or is for elderly relatives, and we just make here to clear it was for a child with special needs, because the other one is for the Johnny's application previously. It's not related to this application. Thanks, Chair.
And myself as well. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And it's just I just wanted to put something on record from the last meeting. When the applicant addressed committee, the applicant mentioned she felt she was being bullied by the case officer. It's an unfortunate turn of phrase, and I appreciate that the applicant isn't familiar with the planning process. I can assure members that officers deal with applications and applicants in the utmost professional manner and courteous at all times. In this particular instance, rather than refuse the application because it was clearly contrary to policy, officers tried suggesting how the scheme could be improved, and I think what happened was the applicant perceived that as a negative intervention, and I just wanted to put the record straight on that for members.
Thanks for that, Sally. And I want to put on record also that I did indicate, I don't know where I read it, but it was for an elderly resident, the additional room. I don't know where that came from, but then I apologise for any confusion caused, and I understand the reason behind the need for the room. Any comments? Sorry?
Ask about the site visit. We went on the site visit.
Yeah, and yeah, that was on the site visit as well. Just raise your hand if you're on the site visit. Yeah. So we'll go to the vote. The recommendation, we'll go to the recommendation is to refuse for the reasons set out in the agenda. So I move refusal. Is that seconded? Vote now, please, Matt.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Ahmed.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Bridgen.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Chowdhury. Thank you. Councillor M. Hussain.
For.
Thank you. And Councillor Taylor.
For.
And Councillor Kershid, sorry.
Sorry, 4.
Thank
For.
you.
Yeah, so that's unanimous. Planning permission has been refused. For 44 Fountains Road. And also, just to remind the applicant, they do have a right of appeal to Secretary of State. I think that's the end of the business tonight. So hope to see you all next time for a meeting that's probably a little bit longer, but not too long.